All right, let's talk about powers of appointment. This is one of those topics on the California Legal Specialist exam that can absolutely trip you up if you're not careful. It's all about having a solid framework, and that's exactly what we're going to build right now together. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't some obscure random topic. Nope. It is Subject Area 2.7, pulled straight from the official exam syllabus. You are going to see this, so let's make sure you're ready for it.
So the real question is, can we get you to master this in the next 5 minutes? I think we can. Let's do this.
At its heart, every single power of appointment is like a fork in the road. There are two paths, and your first job on the exam is to figure out which path you're on, because trust me, the tax and legal consequences are worlds apart. So first, let's get our players straight. You have the donor, who gives the power. Then you have the donee, sometimes called the power holder. The donee gets to decide where the donor's property is going to go. It sounds simple, but the specific kind of right they have changes literally everything. Okay, this slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. This is the single most important distinction you need to make. Are we looking at a general power of appointment, a GPO, where the donee has super broad control and gets taxed like they own it? Or is it a limited power, an LPOA, where their control is restricted and it's usually not taxable to them? Get this right, and you are already halfway home. Let's start by walking into the danger zone, general powers. In exam questions, GPOAs are almost always a tax trap just waiting to be sprung. Your job is to spot it before your hypothetical client gets a nasty surprise from the IRS. And to spot that trap, you just need one simple framework, the 2 rules of 4. Seriously, burn this into your memory. It will let you instantly slice and dice any power of appointment they throw at you on test day. The first rule of 4 is all about who the donee can give the property to. If the donee can appoint the property to any single one of these 4, themselves, their estate, their creditors, or the creditors of their estate, bam, it's a general power of appointment. Full stop. That's the test. The second rule of 4 covers the taxable events. So once you've figured out it's a GPOA, it becomes taxable if the donee does any of these 4 things. They exercise it, they release it, they let it lapse, or, and this is the one that gets people, they just hold it at the moment of their death. That's right. You don't even have to use it for it to be included in your estate.
And, this isn't just some clever mnemonic we made up. It comes straight from the law, the Internal Revenue Code, to be exact. Section 2041 covers the estate tax side, and Section 2514 handles the gift tax. Our 2 rules of 4 is just a way to remember what the code says.
Okay, so if GPOAs are the tax trap, limited powers of appointment are the safe harbor. This is how savvy planners give beneficiaries flexibility and control without triggering a massive unwanted tax bill. And what are the magic words that create this safe harbor? It's all about the ascertainable standard, which you probably know by its acronym, HMES, Health, Education, Maintenance, or Support. If a power is limited by that HMES standard, it is not a GPPOA, even if the donee can appoint it to themselves. This is absolutely key. Now here's a classic exam question scenario. You have someone who is both the trustee and a beneficiary. Probate Code Section 16081 is super important here. It says that if this trustee can make distributions to themselves, that power must be limited by a HEM standard. If the language is broader, something like for their comfort or happiness, that's a GPOA, and you've just spotted a major tax problem. Okay, so we've got the 2 main paths down cold. Now let's layer on some of the key exceptions and special rules that will really help you nail those tougher questions and earn top marks. All right, these 2 numbers, $5,000 or 5%, these represent one of the most important exceptions in this whole area of law, especially when you're dealing with powers that just fade away. This is the famous 5 or 5 rule. Remember we said letting a GPOA lapse is a taxable event? Well, this rule creates a yearly safe harbor. The lapse of a general power is not a taxable gift as long as the value that lapses is under the greater of $5,000 or 5% of the trust assets. This is absolutely critical for any fact pattern involving crummy withdrawal rights. All right, let's cover one final expert-level trap. Being able to spot this on an exam is what really separates the pros from the rookies. It's called the Delaware tax trap. Now, you don't need to know all the crazy mechanics. You just need to spot the trigger. It happens when someone uses a limited, supposedly safe, non-taxable power to create a new power of appointment. This tricky move can unexpectedly spring the GPOA tax trap, pulling all those assets right back into the Dunny's taxable estate. So if you see one power being used to create another power, your alarm bells should be screaming. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's do a rapid-fire review. When you see a power of appointment on the exam, this is your battle plan. First, is it general or limited? That is always the first question. If it's general, you know what to do. Unleash the 2 rules of 4. Find your 4 appointees and find your 4 taxable events. If it's limited, you're on the hunt for those magic HMS words. Always check for that trustee-beneficiary conflict under Probate Code 16081. Be on the lookout for lapsed powers and apply your 5 or 5 rule. And finally, keep an eye peeled for that sneaky Delaware tax trap. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Based on what we've covered, can you explain exactly why using words like comfort and welfare in a trust could accidentally create a GPOA and a massive multi-million-dollar tax liability? If you can answer that, you are ready for this exam. You've got this.